What's going on, good people? We're back for the 5th installment of our Holy Week series. Okay, so we talked about Palm Sunday. We touched on Lent. We talked about Jesus being anointed at Bethany. We spent some time talking about Jesus prophesying his own death. Yesterday, we talked about Spy Wednesday. Today is Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday is the day that we think back, and it would actually have been the Thursday of that week where they have the Last Supper, where they sit there and they have communion for the very first time. That the new covenant goes into action that night. He's basically writing out or speaking out what the covenant will be, and tomorrow it will be signed in blood. The new covenant. They're sitting down at the table. They're eating. The 13 of them, the 12 disciples and Jesus, sit at the table in this upper room that they will be commanded to return to after Jesus ascends. They will sit in that room and they will eat at the table, and he will look at them in the eyes and he will say, "This bread, this is my body. Take and eat. It will be broken for you." And he says, it is broken for you, and tomorrow it will literally be broken. Take and eat. This is my body. This cup, this wine that they will drink of, this will be my blood. This blood will be the redeeming blood. This will be the blood that you will no longer have to go and kill animals for, because it will be enough. It will be sufficient. And it will be grace for now and for all. So Maundy Thursday commemorates not just communion, that we're supposed to do this in remembrance of him when we do it on the first Sunday, and other churches do it at different times. But no, This meal is a commemoration of the very first time. The very first time. And so as we think, and we think about communion, what the bread representing his body that had to be broken because we had broken covenant, and we're going to continue to break covenant. And as long as we should live on this earth, we will continue to break covenant. But his body that was broken for us, the blood that would cover it, and keep us covered in his care. As we think about what today represents, I want you to take a moment and think about where you were the first time you had communion. Think about what it meant to you, or if it meant anything to you. And if it didn't mean anything to you, to begin to add new value to the fact that it's not just a wafer and some juice, but that communion is not just what we eat, but it is a reminder that we should take time to commune or spend time with the one who died for our sins. Communion says that you don't forsake spending time with God. Communion is a reminder of what he did and who he is, and that he has desired from the beginning of time to be in covenant or communion or relationship with you. I want you to think back to the very first time that you had communion. And if that's not significant to you, I want you to think back to the very first, when you realized that you were truly a believer, that you truly had faith, that you truly believed that God was who he said he was. I want you to go back to the time, and I want you to ask yourself, have I gotten closer to him, or have I taken him for granted? And if the answer is the latter, if you believe you've taken it for granted, I want you to make a renewed commitment today. A renewed commitment to do better, to spend more time with him, not to let him just be something I do on Sunday, but something that I do every day. You recall there's a hymn we used to sing of the church saying, "I need thee every hour, most gracious Lord." What that hymn basically was saying is that there is not a moment or an hour of every day that I do not need God. So many of us live these fast-paced lives. And in the fast-paced life, we only come up for air to pray when it's necessary. But what if I submit to you today that every moment is necessary? Being grateful in every moment is necessary. Every hour we ought to say, "Lord, I need you." The reason we do communion, the reason he established that ordinance of the church that night, was so that even when his body would be gone, that we would remember we need to sit down and sup with him, have a conversation with him, spend some time with him. And so when we eat of the bread and we drink of the cup, it's not just eating and drinking of the cup, but it's remembering that he's that important, that we need to spend time with him, and that we need him every hour of every day. I'll catch you tomorrow. Y'all be blessed.